Tun Mahathir in stable condition. Close regional cooperation with neighboring countries needed to implement VTL. Hundreds gather in sit-down protests. Those are the headlines for tonight. I'm Hendy Gui and this is TVS Nightline. Close regional cooperation between Sarawak and neighboring countries is crucial to enable the implementation of the Vaccinated Travel Lane or VTL. Minister of Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Arts, Dr. Sri Abdul Karim Rahman Hamzah said the implementation will enable the reopening of the state border, thus boosting the tourism and economic sector. Karim added that the ministry is planning to open its borders, initially with Singapore, to be followed by Brunei and Indonesia.
Sarawak enters phase 4 of the National Recovery Plan, where more activities would be allowed with relaxed health and safety protocols. This will help the tourism and creative sector to recover. We should work out with the relevant authorities as well as countries so that the Vaccinated Travel Lane or VTL could be implemented to open Sarawak's border to regional countries with probably Singapore as a start and later Brunei as well as Indonesia.
According to Karim, although flight frequency to the state has been increased from 307 to 562 per week, focus should also be given to domestic tourism to boost the local economies through the organization of various incentives and programs.
It is hoped that COVID-19 pandemic will move into an endemic stage soon. The arrival in December, which was also shown just now, the arrival in December 2021 has jumped up by more than 500% as compared to December 2020. We target that the tourist arrival in 2022 will reach at least 1.2 million visitors.
When asked to comment further on the VTL implementation, Karim expressed that although Sarawak is targeting Singapore as the first VTL country, the state will not rush the matter and will continuously monitor the situation in the country, as Singapore is also in the midst of battling with the Omicron variant. Now, the state government will strengthen its cooperation with the Malaysia External Trade Development Corporation or MATRADE in order to assist small and medium enterprises (SMEs) from the state in penetrating the international markets. Deputy Chief Minister Dato' Amar Awang Tengah Ali Hassan said local export companies should take advantage of the programs provided by the government. MATRADE will be encouraging cooperation to promote Sarawak products and services, in addition to developing local SMEs through a cooperation program between MATRADE and Mintrat, especially to enhance the export sector. One of the export incentive programs discussed is the Globepreneur program, which is specially designed to help SMEs in Sarawak to implement the export market development program in the current difficult environment. After a long while, Parti Rakyat Sarawak (PRS) will finally hold its long-awaited TRIENNIAL Delegates Conference (TDC). According to its acting president, Dr. Joseph Salang Gandum, after the party's Supreme Council meeting held this morning, the long-awaited meeting will be held on May 7th in Cebu.
Among the pertinent matters to be decided during the TDC will be on the party's new president. Currently, the slot is vacant after the demise of its president, the late Tan Sri Dr. James Jemut Masing, in October last year. Joseph added that the conference, which was last held in Bintulu in 2016, had been postponed twice due to the COVID-19 pandemic. He said all party divisions had been instructed to hold their respective general meetings and select their delegates to attend the conference. The party divisions can also nominate names for the PRS president position and other office-bearer posts in the Supreme Council.
Sarawakians have voiced out their desire of wanting to see the continuation of the Keluarga Malaysia Sales Program, or PJKM, that was launched by the federal government last December. This program has helped lighten the financial burden of the low-income group, as the prices of goods offered under the program are much cheaper and affordable compared to market prices.
A housewife from Kapit, Lau Hui Lan, said the program is especially beneficial to those from the low-income families because the commodities are offered at a substantially lower pricing. She hopes that the program will continue to be implemented, as it is a great way to help the people, especially those largely affected by the pandemic. Lau said so when met at a sales venue in Dewan Suara Kapit, organized by the Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Ministry in collaboration with local strategic partners, iMart Excel Sendirian Berhad, today and tomorrow from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. Earlier, the media reported that the PJKM, which kicked off on December 4, offered a variety of basic goods at prices 15 to 20% cheaper than the market prices. The move was made as part of the government's efforts to ensure that consumers have access to basic requirements at cheaper costs and to address the issue of rising food prices. Minister of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs, Dato Sri Alexander Nantalinggi, was cited as stating that the sales campaign will be staged twice a month in all 222 parliamentary constituencies.
The Sarawak government has announced an allocation of 5.3 million ringgit for the purpose of expanding the new lot of the Bajijaya SARIKEI Resettlement Scheme, or SPS. According to the Assistant Minister for Natural Resources and Urban Development, Dr. Len Talif Saleh, it is an additional allocation to a previous development project, which included basic infrastructures such as roads as well as water and electricity supplies.
He added, the project, which is expected to be completed within 18 months, will be implemented by BYK Construction Company as the appointed contractor.
Projek ini akan siap di dalam masa 18 bulan dan ia merupakan satu lagi penambahan dari apa yang telah kita buatkan sebelum ini. Komponen apa yang kita buat ialah dari segi jalan raya yang berturap, parit yang berkonkrit, dan juga bakalan air dan bakalan tenaga elektrik dan juga telekomunikasi. Itulah satu-satunya pendekatan yang terbaru yang diambilkan oleh Kerajaan Negeri Sarawak untuk keselesaan penduduk-penduduk di kawasan ini.
In that regard, Len Talif, who is also Kuala Rajang Assemblyman, said the recipients of the Village Expansion Scheme (SPK) should fully utilize the facility by building houses on the land allocated to them.
Kalau kita lihat ke belakang kita ini, sebenarnya kawasan ini sudah siap. Semua infrastruktur sudah ada. Peparitan terserahlah kepada individu-individu yang telah diagihkan lot. Jadi tidak ada sebabnya mereka tidak membangunkan rumah di tempat ini. Walaupun ada sebahagian dari yang penerima lot ialah dari B40, yang kita faham. Oleh itu kita sudah berusaha berunding dengan Housing Commission untuk bagaimana mereka dapat membiayai pembangunan rumah di sini. Tapi mana-mana mereka yang sudah mampu atau boleh mendirikan rumah, bolehlah bila-bila masa saja.
The development of SPK and SPS SARIKEI, together with the government's efforts to create agro-agricultural areas, will further increase its potential in the economic sector.
The shooting incident that killed 4 members of the Royal Malaysian Air Force, or RMAF, on August 13, 2021 was confirmed to have started from online gambling.
Kita dah buat kajian. Air Force pun buat kajian, kita buat kajian. Tapi dua-dua menghala benda yang sama. Kan, masalah dia punca dia is online gambling. Yang TDM tempoh hari is online gambling. Yang tembak tigang tu is orang yang minta hutang dengan dia.
Zamros said the counselling system is used to deal with the problem of misconduct among military personnel, as well as a platform to discuss the matter in depth. At the same time, He added that there have been different factors that had caused shooting incidents involving military personnel.
Lepas tu yang dekat yang darat tu tidak ada minta hutang apa-apa lah. Cuma ada kesian faham dengan family. Jadi wife pun tak larat nak hidup dengan dia. Dia pun rasa macam stressful. Itu yang kita tembak.
Zamros said so during a press conference after attending the 39th Sarawak and Sabah Zone Public University Army Officers Reserve Training Unit, Palapes, commissioning ceremony at University Malaysia Sarawak, UNIMAS. On another development, a total of 10 control posts will be built next year to balance the guard posts built by a neighboring country. Chief of Army General Tan Sri Zamros Muhammad Zain said currently there are 8 guard posts, including 4 under construction.
Yang sedia ada, dalam pembinaan ada 4. Yang dalam pembinaan 4 ni ada 4 tempat, saya beritahu ya. Padang Pan Bau di tahap 51%. Sungai Pauh, Sirian 50%, Batu Kaya, Lubuk Antu 50%, dan Tapak Megah is 13%. Semua dalam proses sekali. Dan kita akan buat lagi 10. Lagi 10 kita akan buat untuk tahun depan. Jadi memang kerajaan suruh kita tambah lagi pos-pos ni. Bukan nak berlawan dengan Kalimantan, tak. Just to balance up.
Meanwhile, the entry of illegal immigrants or party into the country through the Sarawak-Kalimantan border is currently still under control. Welcome back. Now, the youngest sister of the Yang di-Pertua Negeri Tun Pehin Sri Abdul Taib Mahmud, Puan Sri Datin Amar Frida Hanam Mahmud, has passed away this morning. Dato' Ahmad Ibrahim, the Deputy Chairman of the Padawan Municipal Council MPP, and Frida Hanam's nephew claimed today on Facebook that she passed away at 6:19 a.m. in Kuala Lumpur and that her body was returned to Kuching. Frida Hanam is also the wife of Sarawak Economic Development Corporation SEDC Chairman Tan Sri Dato' Amar Abdul Aziz Hussein. Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad was readmitted to the National Heart Institute IJN on Saturday to receive treatments. Tun Mahathir's daughter, Datin Paduka Marina Mahathir, has confirmed that the former minister is currently in stable condition after receiving follow-up treatment at IJN over the past 2 days, following a successful elective procedure he had on January 8. Prior to this, Dr. Mahathir was admitted to IJN on January 7th and discharged on January 13th after undergoing an elective medical procedure on January 8th. A horde of media practitioners had gathered outside IJN to follow developments on the health status of Dr. Mahathir, and it is understood that IJN will issue a statement on the matter. Prime Minister Dato Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob today visited former Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad at IJN. Ismail Sabri, who arrived at 5:35 p.m., waved to press personnel camped at the IJN compound while awaiting news on the health of the elder statesman. The Prime Minister spent about an hour at IJN. Meanwhile, Ismail Sabri, in a post on his Twitter account after visiting Dr. Mahathir at IJN, said he also met with Dr. Mahathir's wife, Tun Dr. Siti Hasma Muhammad Ali. In a Facebook post later, Ismail Sabri urged all Malaysians to pray for Dr. Mahathir's recovery. Now, the government will ensure that all strategies outlined under Budget 2022 can be implemented in an orderly manner for the people's well-being, a resilient business sector, and to spur sustainable economic growth. Prime Minister Dato Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said, for that purpose, the government had set up the Budget 2022 Monitoring Committee, or JPB 2022, to monitor the implementation and performance of initiatives under the budget. He said the committee would also recommend appropriate solutions, intervention measures and policy changes to ensure the smooth implementation of Budget 2022, which involved an allocation of 332.1 billion ringgit. In addition, industry experts will also be invited to attend the JPB 2022 meeting to provide professional feedback if necessary, in addition to welcoming feedback from the people and the business sector on the implementation of Budget 2022. Meanwhile, commenting on the recent flood disaster which left a worse impact than previous years, the Prime Minister emphasized that the implementation of the sustainability agenda was also given special attention in the preparation of the budget. The government has announced that all school teachers under the Education Ministry MOE nationwide are now allowed to get involved in politics with immediate effect. Prime Minister Dato Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the permission also involved the staff of the Community Development Department, or KEMAS. The Prime Minister said the MOE should issue a circular pertaining to the permission immediately if it is not yet available.
Dan saya sudah pun membawa perkara ini dalam kabinet dan kabinet telah pun memutuskan bahawa kita dalam menghormati prinsip demokrasi ini, iaitu kebenaran rakyat untuk berpolitik, maka kita telah pun membuat keputusan membenarkan guru-guru berpolitik.
He said this at a press conference after attending a special meeting with the State UMNO Political Bureau at the Kelantan UMNO building. Earlier, he said there was a circular prohibiting teachers from getting involved in politics, and many were issued with warning letters that threatened to take action against them if they did not comply. However, Ismail Sabri explained that teachers and KEMAS staff are still subject to the rules of their respective departments. About 300 protesters gathered in the heart of Kuala Lumpur on Saturday morning to call for Malaysia Anti-Corruption Commission MACC Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azam Baki to step down. According to news report, the protest erupted after a stock trading scandal involving the MACC Chief Commissioner came to light. Throngs of people gathered at Bangsa LRT station early on Saturday morning as MRT and LRT services were suspended since 7 a.m. Police were stationed around Kuala Lumpur city centre to stop the protesters from entering the city centre. Roadblocks have also been put in place to prevent people from entering Dataran Merdeka, Jalan Syed Putra and Jalan Putra. Protesters then resorted to a 15-minute sit-down on Jalan Bangsar after being told by police not to proceed further. The police ordered the protesters to clear Jalan Bangsar by noon around 12:15 p.m. However, the crowd only dispersed around 1 p.m. Malaysia and Singapore yesterday allowed the resumption of ticket sales for VTL. but with a 50% reduction from what it was before. Transport Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Wee Ka Siong said, for now, Malaysia accepted the decision made by Singapore.
He added that the decision was made following consultation with the relevant authorities, especially the Health Ministry of both countries. However, the Malaysian government will not reject if Singapore agrees to increase the number of capacity, especially during festive seasons. Dr. Wee said all decisions regarding VTL are submitted to the health agencies to determine whether the current capacity needs to be increased or vice versa.
Permintaan ada yang sampai berapa ribu, boleh masing-masing boleh utarakan. Kita ikhtiarkan, kita usahakan. Tetapi sebagai kerajaan kita kena melihat persetujuan bersama antara dua negara. Okey, bukan soal siapa tak nak perjuangkan. Tidak. Kalau pihak Singapura ada yang sudi terima, seperti mana yang pernah dibincangkan, melihat keadaan, kalau ada keperluan boleh ditambah.
Dr. Wee also reminded travelers to apply for permits so that they can take advantage of the VTL initiative. He said this during a press conference after the launch of the MIROS, or Malaysian Institute of Road Safety Research, Road Safety Program at Dewan Muafakat Air Hitam, Johor on January 22nd.
Now on to some global affairs. Health workers climbed snow-covered mountains in remote areas of India's Jammu and Kashmir on January 22nd to administer COVID-19 vaccines to the residents.
Accompanied by armed military personnel, the health workers made their way through the snow to Baramulla district, giving villagers shots outside when they reached villages.
मुझे बहुत खुशी है क्योंकि यहाँ पे बहुत हिली एरिया होने के बावजूद हम बोनियार से चल के यहाँ पे आए हैं। आप देख सकते हैं इस वक्त भी यहाँ पे बहुत बर्फबारी होने के बावजूद भी हमारा वैक्सीनेशन अच्छा हुआ।
Meanwhile, one local man said he was pleased to receive his vaccine.
और जो मेडिकल टीम बोनियार की बुला के उन्होंने यहाँ पे आया और इतने बर्फ में आए वो भी पैदल आए यहाँ पे हमारे लिए। ये फर्स्ट टिका लगा, मैं बहुत खुश हूँ इससे, इन्होंने हमारी इतनी हेल्प की यहाँ पे आके।
India reported 337,704 new COVID-19 infections over the past 24 hours on Saturday, and a daily positivity rate of 17.22%. Over the period, 488 people died, bringing India's COVID-19 death toll to 488,884, the Health Ministry said in a statement.
Now, 3 children and more than 60 adults were reported to have been killed in an airstrike in Yemen on Friday, January 21st, including several African migrants.
Rescue workers were still pulling bodies out of the rubble around midday following the dawn strike on the temporary detention center in Saada in North Yemen. But it was not immediately clear how many people had actually been killed. Dr. Taha Al-Mutawakkil, the health minister for the Houthi-led government in Sana'a, said the hospitals were struggling to cope with the arrival of a large number of those injured and dead.
كارثة كبيرة جدا وفظيعة جدا. لا تستطيع المستشفيات في صعدة مثلا أن تستقبل هذا العدد الكبير. اليوم نحن أمام ما يقارب من 62 من الجثث التي نقلت إلى مستشفى الجمهوري في صعدة، ونحن أكثر من 138 جريح اليوم، أغلبهم عناية مركزة. طبعا بينما المستشفى لا يستطيع في طاقة الاستيعابية إلا أن يستوعب ما يقارب من 150، بينما المستشفى أصلا هو مكتظ ومزدحم بالمرضى والجرحى السابقين، فكيف يستطيع استيعاب 138 من الجرحى إلى حد هذه اللحظة مع عشرات الجرحى المتواجدين في المستشفى أصلا؟ طبعا هذه تفوق القدرة الاستيعابية للمستشفى بشكل عام وبشكل.
A Saudi-led military coalition has been fighting the Iran-aligned Houthi group since 2015. The coalition has intensified airstrikes on what it says are Houthi military targets after the group carried out an unprecedented assault on coalition member, the United Arab Emirates, on Monday, January 17, and further missile and drone launches at Saudi cities. It was reported that more than 60 adults were killed in airstrikes in Yemen on Friday, adding that 3 children were killed when missiles struck the western city of Hodeidah.
من 100 ساعة ما يقارب من 300 ضحية من الجرحى والشهداء. هذه لا تستطيع مستشفيات الجمهورية استقبالهم في محافظة أو محافظتين، في انعدام التجهيزات وانعدام الأدوية وإنهاك الكادر الطبي والصحي.
Now wrapping up the Nightline, an earthquake with a magnitude of 6.6 jolted southwestern Japan on the morning of January 22nd, injuring 13 people.
Footage shot by local television shows burst pipes flooding the streets and debris on the ground after a wall collapsed due to the earthquake. No tsunami warning was issued after the quake struck with an epicenter 45 kilometers deep at 8 minutes past 1 a.m. off the coast of Kyushu, the southernmost of Japan's 4 main islands. The quake caused shaking in Oita and Miyazaki prefectures. 13 people were injured in nearby regions, including 2 people in their 80s who were seriously hurt. Meanwhile, multiple reports of damages to buildings, water pipes, and roads have been confirmed.
And that concludes the Nightline for tonight. With that, I'm Handy Gui. Stay safe and have a pleasant evening.